Hey students, welcome back to the online English classes. Today we are going to resume our discussion on the second chapter of the fourth unit from your NCERT book. Today's topic of discussion will be the fourth part of this chapter, My Elder Brother. Now, students, you must be wondering that there are only 3 scenes, but why are we discussing so many parts? And the reason behind this is because it is a very lengthy chapter. This is why I have decided to break it into as many parts as possible so that every single thing can be explained to you in a perfect manner. Okay, students, so at first, let us have a look at all the things that we learned in the last video before we start anything new today. So at first, we saw that Bhaiya fails once again, but Munna becomes a topper in his class. He not just passes, but also becomes a topper. He comes first in his class. Next, Bhaiya warns him to not become proud of himself. Even we saw that when Munna was expressing his joy, he seemed extremely happy. And seeing this, Bhaiya thought that maybe Munna is becoming proud of himself. That is the reason why Bhaiya warned Munna against it. Next, he also gives him examples of algebra and geometry. So, Bhaiya also explained that when Munna goes to higher classes, he will have to deal with difficult topics like algebra and geometry and which will need a lot of hard work. So Munna will have to become very hardworking and will not, if he keeps on playing and wasting his time, it will not help. And at last, Munna gets scared and expresses his wish to not get promoted to higher classes. And students, I think you remember I said that when a student is saying this, he definitely does not mean this, because every student wants to become a topper. Every student wants to achieve something good in life. Yes, you all want to get promoted. I know you all are desperately waiting to go to college and university and start working. And if anybody says that, no, I don't want to go to the next class, that person is definitely not saying it seriously. Okay, so in today's part, we are going to begin from scene 3. The results were out once again, and it so happened that Munna passed and Bhaiya failed again. So you see, in all the 3 scenes, what are we seeing? That Bhaiya is going through the same problem again and again. Yes, Munna was passing every time, but Bhaiya could not. Bhaiya was really upset. Now, the meaning of the word upset is sad. Okay, so you can, if you are asked to write synonyms of upset, you can write sad there. So Bhaiya was really upset. Definitely, if a person fails in a class for one time, or even more than that, that person would definitely be very upset. Munna was also sad seeing his brother so unhappy. Definitely, you see, this is what family is for, right? When you are sad, your parents also become sad. Yes. So here, their parents were not living with them. So when Munna saw that his elder brother is unhappy, he also became unhappy. Bhaiya now becomes gentler with Munna. Okay. So Bhaiya had also become very soft with Munna. But let us see what gentler means. The word gentler comes from the word gentle. It means being calm, soft, or kind. Okay, so in this picture you see there's a mother and she's having a baby in her hands. She's holding her newborn baby and she's holding the baby in a very gentle way. Okay, so students, just try to recall the time when you had your own younger brothers and sisters. When they were born, remember when you held them in your hands, you did not touch them the way you touch them now when they have become old. Okay, it's older. But when you held them when they were little babies, you were very gentle with them, because they might get hurt, because their bodies are very weak, their bodies are very frail, so you have to be very gentle. Okay, this is the reason why the word gentle has been used here, because earlier we saw how Bhaiya used to behave towards Munna. He was always very angry, he kept scolding Munna, but now Bhaiya also became a little softer with Munna. Munna became naughtier because of this and studied even less than before. Okay, students, now see, just because Munna has passed successfully once again, he has become naughtier than before, and he did not study as much as before, and he spent most of his time in playing outside. Okay, now students, look very carefully. There are two words written in blue. Yes, gentler and naughtier. Both these things we have read just now. Now, these are the comparative form of the adjectives. You remember I had told you about positive degree, comparative degree, and the superlative degree. In adjectives, when we are dealing with adjectives, there are three degrees of comparison. Okay, so here in one paragraph, in the scene 3, in the description of the scene 3 only, we are getting both these comparative adjectives. Okay, so you see, let us first see gentle. Gentle is the positive degree, and we get the word in its positive form most of the times. When it is changed into comparative form, it becomes gentler, and in its superlative form it becomes gentlest. Okay, next is naughty. Okay, and naughty is the positive form, naughtier is the comparative form, and naughtiest is the superlative form. So you see, in comparative form we add the words the letters er, and in the superlative form we add the letters est. Okay, students, now see Munna's statement. In the very beginning, you see the words talking aloud are written in brackets. And if you remember, I had said that bracketed information is always provided as a background information. So here, he's talking aloud. He's quite loud. He's saying, "Ah, I'm lucky. I can pass easily." So you see, students, do you think this is a very good behavior? Just because you have become successful, you have become a topper in your class, does it mean that you should be saying such kind of things, that I can pass easily? I need not study so hard. See, again, he's saying something like that, where, he's actually sounding very proud here. Now I can play games with my friends and fly kites, but I should still be careful that Bhaiya does not see me flying kites. Okay, so you see, Munna is still very scared of Bhaiya. Okay, he wants to play, he wants to spend time with his friends, with, in kite playing and everything, but he also wants to make sure that his brother does not catch him doing that. Okay, so whatever Munna is doing here is not a very good thing, because just because you get good marks one time, two times, three times, four times, or even 10 times, if you get good marks, doesn't mean that you will get it every time. Okay, so hard work and smart work is something that should not be stopped at any point of time. Okay, again, see, again we have a set of brackets and we have some information here. One day a kite is flying slowly downwards. Okay, so let us first see what downwards is. So in this picture, in this slide, there are two pictures. The first picture, there's this finger which is pointing towards the sky. That means it is pointing upwards. And in the second picture, the arrow is pointed downwards. That is why the word downwards. So whatever is moving in the above towards the sky is said to be moving upwards, and whatever is said to be coming down to the ground is said to be moving downwards. Okay, so we also saw that Munna starts running in order to grab it. Grab what? Grab the kite. Okay, so what is the meaning of grab? Grab means to take hold of something or someone suddenly. Okay, so in this picture you can see there's this little boy who has grabbed the string of the kite. Okay, so Munna was also doing the same. So, see students, this is a picture that has been taken from your textbook Marigold. Here you can see Munna is out in the field. There is so much of greenery around him. Yes, and he has a gilli danda in his left hand and a kite in his right hand. Okay, and those of you who are watching this video with your literature books in your hand, you will easily be able to identify this picture. Okay, so you can also see, there's a cow there, a frog is there, some houses are there, trees are there. There's a lot of greenery here. Okay, so Munna is having quite a nice time out in the field. Munna is flying his kite. He is very happy playing his with his kite. He's having a wonderful time out in the field, and then suddenly, what happens? He comes face to face with Bhaiya. Oh my God! He had been running away from his brother. Remember, he said that he wants to have fun. He wants to play kites, but he just wants to be careful so that Bhaiya does not see him. And now, what has happened? Bhaiya has come face to face with him. Let us see what happens next. Bhaiya catching hold of Munna's hand. All right, so this is again an extra information. He is so angry now. He is holding Munna's hand. He just caught Munna's hand. And he says, "Aren't you ashamed to be playing kites all day long?" So you see, Bhaiya is going to be very angry now. Okay, so let's see what Bhaiya says next. But before, let us see what is meant by the word ashamed. In this picture, you see, students, there is a signboard where it is written, "Do not litter." Do not litter means you're not supposed to throw anything on the road. Okay, so it has been taught to you in good manners and bad manners that throwing things here and there and not in the dustbin is a very bad manner. It should not be done. But still, this little boy has thrown something on the ground. Okay, and if you see his expression, you can understand that he is ashamed of his behavior. Okay, and so what does ashamed means? It means a feeling of unhappiness for something wrong that you have done. Okay, so it must have happened to you also. Anytime if your parents are scolding you or if they're angry on you, and if you also do the same thing back to them, if you also show them anger, then you do feel bad at times. You feel bad later on. You feel ashamed of your activity. So that is what it means when you are unhappy for something wrong that you have done. It means that you are ashamed about it. Don't you realize that now you are in the 8th class and are not studying in a lower class? Okay, so at first you see Bhaiya says that isn't Munna ashamed of playing kites all day long? So what does Bhaiya say next? He says that you are in class 8 now. You're no longer a little kid. Why are you playing kites? Why are you flying kites all the time? What do you get from that? Okay, and don't you feel ashamed? If you think that I'm just one class ahead of you and I can't say anything, you are wrong. Okay, now why one class ahead? Because you see, for 2 consecutive years, Bhaiya remained in the same class, whereas Munna got promoted to the next class. So now Bhaiya is in class 9, whereas Munna has come up to class 8. And now why he says this? He says that just because you're in class 8, do not think that I cannot scold you. Okay, I'm still your older brother. If you think that I'm just one class ahead of you and I can't say anything, you are wrong. I am 5 years older than you are and will always be. Okay, so now students, you see, this is what elders are for. They're always there to protect us, to care for us. Okay, but sometimes we misunderstand them. Okay, in this case also, Bhaiya is explaining Munna why he should always listen to Bhaiya, because no matter how successful Munna becomes in his life, he will always be his Bhaiya's little brother. Okay, even if Bhaiya has does not get any good job and Munna becomes a very successful scientist or a businessman or a doctor or a professor or a teacher, he should not consider that like he's above his brother. He should not think it in that way. He should never forget that his Bhaiya is always 5 years older than him and he should always respect him. Okay, understanding doesn't come only from reading books. Okay, so another very important thing, understanding is something which is not always there in books. it just comes with experience. You know what, students, there are many times when when you come across people who may not have gone to school, who may not have have got any formal education like you and me and like many other people, but still they are so very experienced and they know so much about the world. How does it come? It all comes because of experience. Next, Bhaiya says, look at Ma and Baba. So Ma and Baba you are very familiar with these words. Yes, the Ma and Baba are the parents. Ma has never gone to school and Baba has only passed 5th class. Okay, so you see, Munna and Bhaiya's parents are Munna's their mother had never gone to school. Okay, but their father went to school, but he studied only till class 5, and after that he had to stop his education for some reason that we don't know. And remember, in the very first scene, we saw that Bhaiya was scolding Munna, and he said that he shouldn't be wasting father's hard-earned money. So you see, this is what elders do. And if in this case, if their father, who has not completed his own education but is working hard so that his 2 little sons can get a good life, if in this case he scolds his children, do you think he'll be very wrong? He'll not be wrong. Okay, so you see, when you get scolded by your parents, don't take it as a scolding. Don't be angry on them. Okay, try to understand, try to put yourself in their position, and you will definitely understand that they are not actually angry, but they really care for you. They love you. That is why they are behaving in that way. All right, now there is something new that you are going to do. Now is the time for some food for thought. Okay, now food means something that you eat, but here the word food does not mean something that you will eat. Okay, now in the last portion of the chapter that we discussed right now, I told you about understanding and experience, about not going to school and still being very wise and all that. You need to think about it. Okay, so that is something that will, provide as a food for your thought. You need to think about it. You need to not just think, but you have to think deeply about it. Okay. Now, students, see the question. Do you think that formal education is the only way to become wise and experienced in life? Okay, so now this is something that you have to think deeply about. This is a question I have given, not so that you can write it down in your copy. Don't write it. Just think about it. All right, give it a thought. Try to think about your grandparents who may not have gone to school. I'm not talking about all grandparents. Many of your grandparents may have gone to school, may have gone to college, but then there might be some grandparents who have never been to college. It might be there with your parents as well. Okay, so try to give it a thought. Just think that maybe your grandfather, who never saw the school, is more experienced, has a lot of knowledge about the world than you. You are in class 5 right now, but he is much more experienced than you in terms of worldly affairs. Okay, so just think about it. You don't have to write the answer. Okay, we'll discuss about it in the next video. All right, now, so it's time for some recap. Let us have a look at the things that we have already discussed in this particular video. So in the beginning, we saw that once again, Bhaiya fails in his class, but Munna gets promoted. Munna becomes naughtier because of this and spends more time in playing and, spending time with friends and flying kites. Next, Bhaiya explains that understanding does not always come from reading books, and Bhaiya is right in this. Also, he gives example of his parents, of their Ma and Baba. So, students, after this, you have been given one food for thought. Think about this topic. Just after you have watched the video, just close your eyes and think about it for some time. Okay, and I think you will definitely get your answer. All right, so now we have come to the end of our discussion of the 4th part of My Elder Brother. So do your exercise, prepare for the exam, and also think about the topic that you have been given today. in this video. So stay safe and goodbye.